Hey, data explorers, it's me, the Web3 idiot. Today, we're going to go on a quest to find the number of unique elements hidden within an array. Are you feeling like you're diving into the unknown? Don't worry, you're not alone on this adventure. By the end of the video, you'll master the art of finding unique elements and expand your coding horizons. Without further ado, let's embark on this adventure to find the number of unique elements in an array. Our journey begins now. I was told my intros were a little too long, so we're just going to shorten them up as much as we can and just jump straight into the coding. So today our question is to find the number of unique elements in an array. Last week we handled finding the first element to appear k or more times in an array. We used a special thing called a hash map, which is a very cool thing. It's basically an object where you have a key and a value, and it has an O of 1 search time. It's pretty handy. Today, we will also be using, spoiler alert, another hash map. So let's go ahead and break down exactly what this is asking. Let's, for example, say we're given an array of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. All right, so we're given this array of 7 elements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Yeah, given this array of 7 elements, and we need to output the number of elements that appear only one time. The elements that appear one time, and they are unique. So basically what we'll do is we'll say, 1, good, 1 is there. Next up we have 2, 2 has not been seen. 3 has not been seen. 4 has not been seen. 5 has not been seen. And then, so we're at 5, and then, we come to 1. 1 has been seen before. That means we need to drop down 1. And, we look at 2, and yes, 2 has been seen before. So our number of unique elements will be our output, which will be 3. That will represent these 3 numbers here because 1 and 2 appear twice, respectively. The 1 appears twice, 2 appears twice, while these 3 numbers in the middle, 3, 4, 5, appear just one time. So last week you knew that we have the ability to make a map where we can have 1 appears twice. We have, let's drop this one down. See, we have a 2 that appears twice, a 3 that appears one time, a 4 that appears one time, and a 5 that appears one time. So basically, we use a map to keep track of the counts, the frequency of each one of these elements. And the idea is that we only increase our counter when it is a new element. And if we see it 2 times, we say the counter is down by 1 because we are getting rid of the first one that we added. It will be pretty straightforward. So we're going to be using a map and a counter pretty much. So let's go ahead and jump into the pseudocode. The idea would be we need to init a function and pass it an array, not init a function and pass it an array. After that, we need to init a map to count the frequency, and we need to init a counter to 0. So this is the number of unique elements that we start with. Next, we'll do a simple for loop. So that we'll just do loop through elements in the array. Easy enough. It's pretty awesome. Next up, we'll have a init a variable to hold the value at array of I. Next up, we'll say constant we'll init a variable called count on the inside. Actually, let's do unique here. Variable called count, and there we'll say is equal to the map, and we'll get the value, or it will be or 0 because it may not exist yet, and we'll increase it by 1. This will be the current count, and then we will set the count of value to count. Easy enough. And then here we'll say if count is equal to 1, which will be our first appearance of the account, we say unique increases by 1. If our count is equal to 2, then unique decreases by 1. And then at the end, what we want to do is return unique, which is just our count of the unique elements within this map or this array as well. So our time complexity, let's see, time complexity, blah, blah, blah. What we do is we loop through the entire array one time. That is it. All we do is loop through one time. So that always means that we are O of n. Pretty amazing. Next, we create a map. So this map can hold one element. It could hold n elements because each element may be unique. So we always go with the worst case scenario. So the space complexity, which is our auxiliary space held in this map, will be O of n because every element of this array may be unique, which means that this map will hold n number of elements. Yeah, pretty straightforward. And we'll go ahead and jump into the coding. So what we want to do is on line 11, init a function and pass it in an array. So here we'll call function number of unique elements. And inside we'll pass it an array. Next up, we'll look at line 12 of our plan. Init a map to count the frequency. I know what we'll do. We'll say constant, and we'll say frequency is equal to new map. Wonderful. Great job. Spectacular. And finally, we'll say let. And our let will be, we call it unique. We'll call it number of unique we'll call it uniques. Why not? Equals, we'll set it to 0. Very simple, very easy. And then we'll move on to line 15. We're going to loop through the elements in the array. So we say for let I equal 0. I is less than array dot length I plus plus, which increments our I. Down there, we'll say init a variable to hold the value at array I. So we'll say constant value equals array at I. Simple enough. Next up, we'll get a count for this variable or this value. And we'll say constant count is equal to frequency. And remember, to get the value, we need to use the word get. So get, and here we'll say, we'll pass in our value. That is what we're looking for. And if it does not exist, which is very possible, we'll pass back a 0, and we'll do plus 1. So this will be the first time or the second time or the third time that we see this element. Next up, we are going to set this here in the frequency, our updated count. So we'll say frequency.set, and again, we'll pass in value. We'll value and our new count, which is equal to the old frequency or 0 plus 1. All right. Next, this is where we do our check. If our count is equal to 1, then we say number of uniques plus plus. Else, if, whoops, get rid of that, 1 second. Sorry, else if count is equal to 2, which is the first of time that it appears more than once, we will say number of uniques decremented. Very simple, very straightforward. And by the end of all of this, we will say return number of uniques. So let's run through this real quick. We have I equals 0. Simple enough. I is less than the array of length, and I increments. We have a value, which is at array of I, so we don't have to keep checking array of I. We have the constant called count, which is equal to the previous count or frequency of the value, or 0 if it does not exist, plus 1 because we're incrementing it, because this will be seeing this value either for the first time or for a following time. 39, we set the value, we update the frequency map, and then 40 through 44, that is where we check if it is the first time we're seeing this item, we increase it because it is unique. And if we see it a second time, we decrease it. If we see it a third time, we do nothing. A fourth time, because we already got rid of it from the unique count. And at the end, we return this number of uniques, which should be equal to the number of unique elements within our array. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Console.log. Let's test it out. We'll do number of unique elements, and inside we will pass our 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we'll say should be, what should it be? I'll give you a guess. 3, 2, 1. Yes, you're right. It should be 5. Simple enough. That should be easy. Next up, we'll go down to our second line. Let's say they're all ones. 1, 1, 1, and 1. There are no unique elements, so it should be 0. And we'll do one more. We'll say just pass in 1, 2. And that should be, of course, just one element is unique because it's a 2. So here, none of the elements are unique because they are all the same. They're all ones. Here, we have 5 elements, and all of them are unique because they only appear one time. And our last one, we have this 2. And it should be a 1. So we'll go ahead and take a look, test it out, run it back. Let's see what we got. 5 should be 5, good. 0 should be 0, and 1 should be 1. All right, very good. So today we learned about how to use a map to either increment or decrement a count based on certain conditions here. There's another way. I think it's pretty cool. Just a number of uniques. Yeah. Pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, post them below. Like and subscribe if you want. I don't care. I'm just trying to help people out as much as I can and give back to the self-taught community. Anyways, you guys have a great morning, evening, afternoon, night. I don't know where you are when you're watching this, but I hope I helped you out a little bit. Anyways, have a great day. Bye-bye.